Good morning, everyone. We're going to start. I'd like to start by saying welcome to Celebrate Park in St. James, and give yourself a round of applause for what we've done here. If you will, please turn and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd now like to invite to the mic Mr. John Zollo to sing God Bless the USA. Mr. Zollo.
Thank you, Supervisor. A little nippy here. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and St. James to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart. It's time we stand and say, well, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Well, I'm proud to be an American, but at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you, Mr. John Zollo. He is the town crooner, by the way. And I just want to mention he works pretty cheap, too, so if you need him, let us know. I'd like to just welcome some special people here behind me and make some acknowledgments. Just know that everybody that we will mention here, in one way or the other, had a hand in the success of the revitalization of the St. James. So we on the town board, myself and the town board, appreciate it, and I'd just like to acknowledge them today. We have County Executive Steve Bellone, who could not be here for obvious reasons. He is knee-deep in a major issue with the county. I know we've all read about that. But County Executive Bellone had a big part in this, specifically the ground we stand on here today. We worked with him in an intergovernmental agreement to buy an abandoned building. He helped the town along on the purchase. We did it. And the result of that intergovernmental agreement, we're standing on here today. So I want to thank County Executive Pallone and wish him well with the problems he has. We have with us also Assemblyman Michael Fitzpatrick. Michael, thank you very much. Someone we all know well, State Senator Mario Matera. Our legislator, Leslie Kennedy, is here with us today. Another gentleman working very hard with the county issue, County Comptroller John Kennedy. Legislator Rob Trotter. A group of people I'd like to thank personally for all their support, our town board. Councilman Tom McCarthy. Councilwoman Lynn Noack. Councilwoman Lisa Inzarello could not be with us today, but she sends her best. Councilman Thomas Lohman. Our Highway Superintendent, Robert Murphy. Our Town Clerk, Vincent Pulio. Someone who grabs all your money so we could do these things. Tax receiver, Deanna Ricchio. A great friend and neighbor, Mayor Richard Smith. Also, head of the harbor, Mayor Dalgard. I don't know if Mayor Dalgard made it this morning, but he wishes you all well as well. St. James Chamber of Commerce is here with us today. Celebrate St. James. Natalie Weinstein is here. Celebrate. Patricia Clark, who does an excellent job. Patricia. Our friend Jack Adler, part of this project as well. Jack. Arlene Goldstein is here. Arlene. St. James Civic Association. And the St. James Fire Department. So thank you to all of those folks. Again, they all had a part in making this happen. We do not do it alone. It's a team effort. Everything we do in Smithtown, this group, it's a team effort. We are well known here, myself and the town board. We'll work with anybody, anytime, as long as it benefits the residents of Smithtown. So, let me start by saying we're gathered here today to celebrate St. James, quite literally, as we officially dedicate and cut a ribbon on a newly completed Celebrate Park. This day marks completion of the third and final phase of the revitalization efforts in St. James, except for we will be back to connect the sewer main that we installed under Lake Avenue so that we can benefit the businesses. And it is not a sewer main to nowhere, no matter what you may think. We are in the works of a connection. Details to follow later. Since we first began the efforts, we've seen a full-blown renaissance here in this quaint hamlet. Vacancies are down, assessed values are up. People are strolling Lake Avenue again. Kids are riding bikes to town again. With a great park to sit and relax in, maybe take in a live performance paired with some homemade old-fashioned ice cream just across the street from here, and it is great. It sounds like a Norman Rockwell picture, perfect to me. Before I took office, I had once counted 33 empty storefronts on Lake Avenue. Now there's maybe less than a handful. This is what revitalization really looks like. Today we can see what can happen when a community, the good people who call it home, and local levels of government all work together as one. Today we get to enjoy the fruits of our labor and officially welcome the people of this great town to Celebrate Park. I do want to thank some additional folks who had a large hand in what we do here. First and foremost, none of these events happen, and I mean that sincerely, without our beloved Spio Nicole Gargiulo. Someone else that's here, and I invited him here today because they go unnoticed just about all the time. These type of projects, like buying this building that was abandoned, building this park, all the regulations that take place, and they're never really, they're quite often they're missed, and I don't want to miss him anymore. Who's with us here today. Very important to make these things happen is the town attorney's office. We can't do anything without them. Matt Jakubowski, thank you, Matt. I want to say thank you to 3 St. James residents who volunteered their talent and craft to create a truly unique gathering place for this wonderful community. The one and only Natalie Weinstein. Landscape architect Bob Rettenauer of RDA. Michael Mobillo of Inspire Design Group. I want to thank and acknowledge a super planning department led by Peter Hans. Peter. The lady who had her eye on this park and kept progress moving. Kelly Brown, our community development coordinator. And the entire planning department staff, they do an excellent job in Smithtown. Joe Rico, our Director of Parks, and the entire park staff. Excellent job. Mitchell Crowley of the Traffic Safety Department and his staff. Mitchell. Robert Murphy, our Highway Superintendent. Robert, thank you. All of these departments and folks work together with Celebrate St. James, ensuring the partnership resulted in success. I'd also just like to mention that Celebrate St. James has a very important gala coming up in just a few days. The gala is all about saving the historic theater just up the block, which the organization calls home. The gala is on Wednesday, October 26th at 6 p.m. at Flower Field Celebration. We have a few honorees with us here today that will be honored that night. I was very fortunate to be one of those at the last event, so thank you, Natalie, and to your group. Cost me a lot of money for tickets, but I loved the evening. You know, when they invite you to honor you, that means, you know, get your wallet out. A couple tables, invite all your friends and family, but it was a wonderful evening. I think Pat Clark will be here up to the mic in a little bit, and she'll give you more about that. Together, though, seriously, we can preserve the arts here in St. James, and that's what this was all about, to make this an art and historic community. And this ceremony is proof that together it can be done. So please see Pat or Natalie, and let's make sure we have great attendance at the gala event. She has some wonderful honorees this year. With that, I would like to bring up a woman with a plan. Somebody who frankly drove me crazy for months. When I told her I had to represent 118,000 people that I represent, she said, God bless them, but I'm important. You need to see me. Seriously. I'd like to bring up to the mic now my dear friend and someone who was instrumental in making the revitalization effort happen, Natalie Weinstein.
Who would have thought? Part 2. On a lovely afternoon in November 2020, November 4th to be exact, plans were officially unveiled on this site for a new park in the center of town. This land on which we are gathered today was given to Celebrate St. James, past, present, future, by Smithtown Supervisor Ed Warheim and his town council to design and help build what is now Celebrate Park. On that day I said, quote, I, and I am sure many of you, never would have imagined this joint achievement of local government and a small band of volunteers. But this is an unusual administration and an unusual group of volunteers. Both embody the vision of economic revitalization. Both are committed to progress, and both attract the talent and cooperation of some pretty amazing people. I know. Because I had the privilege of working with so many of them. Today, I say, Celebrate Park is here because of all of you as well. The people of St. James and their supporters. You helped make this happen by your generous donations of dollars, service, and talents, and through your words of love and well wishes, which will forever remain inscribed on the entry gates, pavilion, pergola, gardens, seating areas, specialty items, and on the bricks and blocks in our walking path. For me, these donations will always remain a symbol of community at its best. We know St. James has always been a special place. This little sleepy hamlet of Smithtown has a history worth sharing and perpetuating. It has been home to a famous architect, a New York City mayor, countless vaudevillians, and many hardworking people who in good times and bad helped their neighbors. It's been my home and workplace for almost 50 years, and I'm a relative newbie. It's been home to many of you and your families for much longer. I think that's one of the reasons people aspire to live here, and those who have grown up here choose to remain. We are a community that can and will get things done when we work together. And look at what we have accomplished. Celebrate Park was aptly named by Nicole Gargiulo, a lifelong St. Jameser and now information officer to the Werheim administration. Celebrate Park, because we have so much to celebrate in this very special gathering place, as well as to remember. For us and for all generations to come, as we enjoy special events, group gatherings, or just a brief stop off to watch the world go by for a little while. Some of this has already happened, and plans for so many more exciting things are on the horizon. Many of you have watched the progress at Celebrate Park and may have wondered, what is taking so long? I must confess, so did I. It was a learning experience for me, Mike Morbillo, our talented architect, and Bob Rettenauer, our wonderful landscape designer. There was a constant dialogue between the supervisor, the planning department, especially Kelly Brown, our capable liaison, and the Parks Department, as well as many suppliers. And during this journey, I gained so much respect for all of them, seeing how hard they work and their dedication to the common good, going above and beyond to make everything right, and enabling us to realize our vision. The indefatigable Pat Clark, then Celebrate St. James recording secretary, so that's why you have it, was filling notebooks and creating spreadsheets. Kathy Graff was handling the yeoman's job of organizing the brick and block donations, and our treasurer, Randy Kuvecki, was managing the money. I had the privilege of being up close and personal with our donors, whose names appear on your program. I think I had the easiest job. because their offerings came with a full heart and an open checkbook. Donations of $5,000 and more are recognized on the visionary wall in this beautiful pavilion. Contributions from families, businesses, and community organizations, a cross-section of St. James, generosity above and beyond, in honor of, in memory of, in appreciation of, all to be remembered, all to be celebrated. Today we cut a ribbon to symbolically and actually turn a vision into reality, taking an eyesore in our community and transforming it into a place of pride for all, now and in the future. I will forever hold scenes in my mind of children playing here, teenagers gathering here, and people respectfully walking their dogs here. One of my most memorable recollections thus far is that of an elderly gentleman holding a young child's hand, standing over what must have been his family's message inscribed on a brick, and clearly telling him its story, and ours. This park will tell our living history for generations to come. The time when we lit our first Christmas tree, had a wonderful concert, a special children's event, an inspiring historic recreation, our first bride-to-be taking pictures before her wedding. While this park was not named Remembrance Park, it is also that, because many of us chose to remember our loved ones who are no longer with us, whose lives gave ours purpose and meaning, whose contribution to our families and our town are immeasurable. Their lives will forever be celebrated here. But Celebrate Park even represents something more, my friends. In a world of divisiveness and division, even in our town, even when we vehemently disagree on an issue, even through a pandemic, its existence proves we can find common ground, literally and figuratively, creating a ray of light that gives us hope for a better future. These past weeks, Jews around the world celebrated Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and the birthday of the world, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement and New Beginnings. I attended the services, my family attended, via Zoom. I joined them in prayer, following in their prayer book 3,000 miles away. Amazing. I found many words that inspired me and gave me hope as we today celebrate our past, gather today in the present, and look forward to our future. I would like to share a few with you. Do not wait for a miracle or the sudden transformation of the world. Bring the day closer, step by step, with every act of courage, of kindness, of healing and repair. Do not be discouraged by the darkness. Lift up every spark you can and watch the horizon for the coming dawn. Look closely. It has already begun. My friends, look closely today. St. James is well on its way to renewal with purpose and vigor and a charm it once possessed. Thanks to so many of you. And what a beginning for today and for so many tomorrows. Thank you all for coming to share in this very special event for our community, for our town, for all of you. And now, please welcome Patricia Clark, President of Celebrate St. James.
Thank you, Natalie. Always a tough act to follow. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Celebrate St. James, I am proud to stand here today at the ribbon cutting ceremony and dedication of Celebrate Park. But first I'd like to reflect on how I got here. The year was 2017. The place was Lake Avenue, St. James. Every time I drove through town, and even other parts of Smithtown, I thought, this place is dying. There were many empty storefronts and not much to offer in the way of restaurants, shopping, or services. And I complained. But as I was noticing this, and unbeknownst to me, Natalie Weinstein, Jack Ader, hi Jack, and Arlene Goldstein were making the same observations, and they decided to do something about it. And Celebrate St. James, Past, Present, Future was born. The goal of this not-for-profit organization was set to revitalize St. James, to drive economic growth through the cultural arts, and celebrating the rich history of this town through art, music, and a variety of entertaining and enriching events. 2017 was also a pivotal election year, and in January of 2018, we welcomed the new administration of Supervisor Ed Wareheim. And an exciting era in St. James began. With the steadfast support of Supervisor Wareheim, the time was right for the town and our organization to work together. And today, through our combined efforts here in this magnificent park, located in the heart of the Lake Avenue Cultural Arts District, standing beneath this beautiful pavilion, a pergola with beautiful tables for coffee or lunch, or just to take a rest, with a beautiful painting by our own Arlene Goldstein, a montage of St. James historical sites, seating all around, standing among over 700 bricks with inscriptions that will be here for years to come, each one with its own story, whether it's the name of a business, beloved family members and friends. There's even one for a cow, Babyface, who lived on the DeCamp family farm in our town until the 1960s, something for everyone. 2017 was not so long ago, but the changes to Lake Avenue that you see here today have been dramatic. What could be better than ice cream right across the street and welcoming to so many new businesses coming to town? As positive as these changes have been, there is more work for us ahead. As many of you know and have heard today, and some of you may not know, there's an historic gem, a building that is over 100 years old, just down the road, around the corner from Lake Avenue on 2nd Street. This impressive building was once the St. James Calderon Movie Theater, and in its earlier days, it was a stage theater. In fact, St. James was once the go-to destination for vaudevillians, actors, songwriters, and playwrights. We in Celebrate St. James believe that we owe it to our town to keep its legacy alive. With your help, we can do that by purchasing and restoring the theater building to become the permanent home of a St. James Community Cultural Arts Center with a small theater and an outdoor plaza. So as we dedicate this beautiful park in our town today, I am asking you all to open your hearts and your imagination, and once again your wallets, for our vision to create a community cultural arts center. I want to thank the honorees from our inaugural gala in 2019, their names are in your program, for helping us launch our fundraising efforts. Very soon, on October 26th, just next week, we will host a Roaring Twenties Gala at the fabulous Flower Field to celebrate another group of honorees who are so special to our town. Roseanne Cousin, in memoriam, founder of the Chorus Line Dance Studio, which is right across the street. St. James Fire Commissioner Thomas Donahue, Senator Mario Matera, hope you're on this side. George Desmaris, project manager with H2M Architects and Engineers, and County Executive Steve Ballone, who could not be here today because his hands are full. I invite you to join us for this fun-filled and exciting event. We'll have an 18-piece band, casino games, signature cocktails, and candy exit station reminiscent of the 1920s, and of course a wonderful dinner, dancing, and so much more. Tickets and sponsorships are available, and we have invitations in case you haven't already gotten one. So today, we see our dream of this park become reality, and now we at Celebrate are once again on the verge of a community endeavor of unique proportions. Once again, it is time to come together to plan for the future for our children, for our seniors, and for ourselves. Now is the time to preserve and cherish the past, upon which we build a future to serve the town for generations to come. When the St. James Theater building was purchased in 1985, something in that building called to the owners to preserve the stage, the tin ceiling, and the theater artifacts that were found there. Something in them wanted to restore the exterior of the building to the way it once was. And because they did, the historic features of the building were not lost to us. But unless we act now to save the building, the history will be lost forever. Can we keep it from being lost forever? Well, think about it. There was a time when there was no railroad station in St. James, just a stop where the cows walked across the tracks lazily. When the town fathers at that time asked the Long Island Railroad for a station, they were told, if you want one, build it yourself. And so they did. If we want what this town needs and will benefit from, we can surely create it ourselves with the help of everyone here and all throughout the town. I'd like to take this moment to offer a special thank you on behalf of Celebrate St. James to Supervisor Wareheim and his administration, especially Peter Hans, Kelly Brown, and Joe Arrico for building this beautiful park here in St. James. I learned so much about the infrastructure of a park. And of course, our wonderful designers, Natalie, Bob Rettenauer, and Mike Morbillo. It has been my pleasure to work with all of you. I would also like to recognize and thank the Board of Directors of Celebrate St. James for all their hard work and dedication to our mission. Here today are Vice Presidents Jack Gator, Arlen Goldstein, Veronica Nano, Tony Schiappolo could not be with us today, Randy Kvecki, our treasurer, could not be here with us today, our recording secretary, Elaine Demi, our corresponding secretary, Doris Meyer, and our founder and past president and advisor, Natalie Lindstein. The board, our members, and just a handful of volunteers with a lot of heart have made many significant contributions to this community, presenting art exhibits, living history, music and comedy events, concerts, art classes, and many other community gatherings. In your programs today, you have a list of our upcoming events. Upside down. We have brought laughter and learning to many of you, and we want to provide a home for much more. I invite you to stop by for a tour of the building. We will be having an opening reception next Sunday, October 23rd at 1 p.m. for our next art exhibit, a celebration of the art and culture of the Shinnecock Indian Nation. That day, we will also have an open house between 11 and 3 to welcome visitors. Or if one day you're just passing by and think, what's going on here? Well, come in and you can see a large-scale proposed floor plans and the future design of the building, which was also handed out to you today. You'll see the vision boards and what we really hope to accomplish there. We even have a gift shop with many lovely items created by our talented artists, photographers, and authors. So finally, I ask you, can you imagine the possibilities for a community cultural arts center in our town? Will you help us build it? And those imagined possibilities will become a reality. And the day will come again when we will celebrate yet another ribbon cutting. Thank you. And now, I think, am I introducing the donors? Yes. Okay. So at this time, I would like to give a special thank you to all the donors who made this park possible. Of course, the town too, individual donors. And we have a small token of our appreciation for you. So as I call your name or group name or family name, if you would please stand up so our volunteers can find you. I'd like to start with the Winters family. Woo! Our park designers, Michael Morbillo, Bob Rettenauer, and Natalie Weinstein. Our organization celebrates St. James past, present, future. George Skolin of Oven Celebrations. The Marr family of the St. James Funeral Home. The St. James Chamber of Commerce. The Community Association of Greater St. James. The Fricke family. Paul Long Island Landscaping. The Bezzetta family. The Weinstein family. Gary Fitlin and the Gyrodyne organization. The Shatlis family of Ring Savvy and Answering Legal. Arlene Goldstein. Guy Caligiuri of Patio Pizza. Patio Pizza. Thank you for coming. I didn't know you ever came out. Norman and Jean Kyle. Joyce Mazzeo. Violet McKeon, who I don't think is here today. Thomas Novelli of Novelli Contracting. Marissa Pulio, Chorus Line Dance Studio. Gina Keeley and the Paige Keeley Foundation. Susan Piper of Pet Expressions. There's a dog fountain back here for those of you who might not know. Zachary Spiegel. Girl Scout Troop 1016, as they all graduated high school last year, they left a donation for the park in their memory. And the Paws of War organization. And to all those who created the Celebrate Park Walk of Best Wishes and Remembrances, thank you all.
Okay, we're almost there to cut the ribbon. I just want to take a moment and have someone who wants to come up. I see Mike Fitzpatrick back here and Senator Matera back here. I want to give a personal thanks to them both for the fight. Hold on, for the fight that they're taking to the New York State legislature that owe our community a fair amount of money. Close to $4 million that we were approved for and did not get. And I have all the confidence in the world that our two state representatives, they are up there fighting every day. Mario almost got thrown out of Albany 3 or 4 times. But he continues the fight, and I want to thank them on behalf of myself and the board, because we will take that money and put it right back into this community. With that, thank you, gentlemen, both for what you're doing. With that, I would like to invite up to the mic. And generally, I always give him, Mario 2 minutes, but I'm not going to do it today. Mario, come on up here and take all the time you want. Thank you, supervisors. This is a great day for St. James. Unbelievable, exciting. I want to thank everybody attending this very special day to celebrate the ribbon-cutting dedication of Celebrate Park. Thanks to our friends and great supervisor Ed Wareheim, council members Tom Lohman, Lynn Novick, Tom McCarthy, Lisa Inzarello. Thank you so much, and all the board, all the dignitaries that are here today. These are all people that care about our community. They need a round of applause because they do care. Superintendent Bob Murphy, Director Joe Rico, and all the workers. And what about our town workers for what they do to make this possible, to keep this maintained? Right? This doesn't just happen. Special thanks to our local landscape architect, Bob Rittenauer, and of RDA, and architect Mike Muravello. Mike, thank you so much. I mean, we were on a board together. You do a great job. Look what this looks like. When you drive by and you see people actually enjoying themselves walking, looking at all these bricks, and my brick is in the front if everybody wants to go see. It's right there at the beautiful, beautiful archway that Celebrate Park from the Winters family. We know Joe right now. Joe Winters is looking down right now today. Let's give a round of applause to the Winter family. The Winters are very, very special to all of us, and you know what? Sean and I were standing right where Sean is sitting, and our pubbery, we were having our pubbery burger and our cheese fries right there. Maybe with a couple cocktails, but we really won't get into that, right, Bob Murphy? So, had a lot of fun. Just to give a heads up, when the building was being demoed, it was hysterical. When Tommy Lohman and Bob Murphy was sitting there, and there was all kinds of kegs, and I'm like, no! Don't wreck those kegs. We'll take them. We'll utilize those kegs. But Tommy was there. Tom has been here, Lohman, and I thank him so much for all of your support to make sure that this really came forward. But you know what? The town, with our supervisor, Wareheim, I got to tell you something about him. I say this all the time. There's a man that does not need to do this, but he does this from his heart. He made sure, we sat here, we had the pandemic. He made sure that job still continued when it needed to stop, especially with the money from the state and with the COVID. And with our governor went and he put a moratorium on all SAM grant money. And that's why this all happened. But you know what? Our supervisor had the vision to make sure that sewer, I know it's not a sexy topic. Sewers are not sexy. But you know what? With our president, Kerry Moore, with the Civic and the Chambers and everybody getting involved. But Kerry was persistent with Senator Flanagan to make sure that we were here to make sure that sewer main was going in the ground so we didn't have to worry about it for our future. But you know what? It was so very important for everybody getting involved. So you know what? I want to say, to celebrate St. James President Packlock, thank you so much for all you do. Not just on this project, but caring about all of our residents, and and having a heart. Your vision for our residents, visitors, for everybody who enjoys the community for generations to come. To Natalie Weinstein, what can I say? Consistent and persistent. I always say those words. A person that will never take no for an answer. Never a no. And that's what I love about her, because you know what? I grew up with my mom, interior designer, both interior designers, and it must be something in the design books or something like that this happens. I don't know, but you know what? You were so special. What's that? Okay. You made this project become a success, and it did. Everybody from the visits every day will benefit and enjoy all your hard work and dedication. And to all those who donated to Celebrate Park, all the bricks and the best wishes for community pride and this. All these bricks have a story and a tale, and we said this before. So, I'm going to stop at that because my speech is sometimes a little too lengthy, and everybody knows this, and I really need to say ditto from what everybody has said here today. So I would like my colleague and my partner, Mike Fitzpatrick, to come up here, please, because we are presenting 3 plaques from the state of New York, which I had to pay for the frames, by the way. As John Kennedy, comptroller, would say, we're broke.
So, first, the beautiful ladies, can you please come up? Natalie Weinstein, thank you for your volunteer work to make Celebration Park, the centerpiece of Lake Avenue Cultural Arts District, so special. Well deserved. Is this woman amazing or what? And Patricia Clark, our president. Celebration. I thank you so much for all, again, what you do. And to Council Supervisor Wareheim and all council members, please come forward, please. Hey. All right. We're gonna get a photo. Again, this cannot happen. This is called good government. This is government, like I always say, there's politicians that get nothing done, and there's elected officials that do. And these are all elected officials that are all here today. Thank you. God bless this park. God bless St. James. And especially, God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Can we get a photo, please?
Where's Rob? I know you're hiding.
Get up there, Robert. Get up there, Robert. Get up there.
Interrupting the broadcast.
Thank you, Mario, very much. And I did what Mario said. God bless St. James, God bless Smithtown, God bless the United States. And we've come to the time we've all been waiting for. Nicole Gargiulo will lead us out to the front, I think by Lake, correct? And we're gonna go set the ribbon up. And we invite everybody to come up there, everybody that's here today to help us cut.